giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Oh, yeah. Good morning. Good peep. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live, presented by Boston Scientific. We stream it live on YouTube and Facebook. And, of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker Steele. Boom! It's Monday, baby. Just call me AI today, man. I got the answers for your questions. Mailbag Monday. Some good questions from y'all. A lot of YouTube questions. In fact, all YouTube questions will answer that today. Plus in a roundup, easy show. Roundup's not going to be much. No news is dropping. However, we'll refresh you guys up on the off-season dates because the Cowboys started their off-season program today. And of course, you can call in as always, man. 351-999-3787 is the call-in line. Come on in, talk to your boy on this wonderful, beautiful Monday. Speaking of AI, did y'all see my Lakers, baby? Y'all said we have a chance. What up, Bomb Squad?
Bomb Squad!
How y'all doing? The NBA world is upside down after game one. That's the beauty, though, of the NBA. There are 7 games that you could potentially play. So we ain't gonna get too far ahead of ourselves here, but it seems like every team that's predicted to win the series lost in game one. So it should be a fun one. Man. And yeah, and then you got Ja Morant's injury, so that'll help out the Lakers a little bit later. And I know my bro, Foots the King, is watching right now, who I did not know was a Kings fan. So shout out to the Young Bucks. I'm actually rooting for them a little bit. But years ago, I absolutely hated the Kings, man. The Lakers and the Kings rivalry was right up there with the best during that era. So it'll be interesting to see if they advance, the Lakers advance, and they can kind of clash. Because tomorrow we'll have Foots on. We're talking linebackers tomorrow, so make sure y'all come through. But yeah, man, the NBA world is upside down, dog. Upside down. And I already see we got somebody on the horn. So hold tight. We'll get to y'all a little bit. We'll get to you a little bit later. Maybe after the roundup, we'll see. But we definitely want to get into these questions. Y'all have some good questions, some fun questions. And I'm impressed. You know, it's not easy to select quality questions. Now, sometimes you get one thrown in there. It is what it is. But for the last month, y'all have been doing some good stuff with these questions. So let's get into this roundup. And then let's come on back and get into this mailbag. Here we go.
It's time.
It is time for.
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Hey, yo. Hey, too broke. Those damn cowbells were annoying. They got this cool thing, though, now where they do like a beam. I don't know, man. Young, scrappy group. Can't hate them. Plus, I like Fox. Anyway, so not a lot of news. Not a lot of news coming out of Dallas right now. It is extremely slow. Teams are not really looking into free agency right now. It's all about getting that draft board together for next week's NFL draft. That's right. Next Thursday is the NFL draft. My goodness. It's here. But before that, the Cowboys do kick off their offseason workouts today. There are some important dates to keep in mind as we get through this offseason, the phases, right? The first day is today, April 17th. Phase 1, per the NFL, consists of the first 2 weeks of the program with activities limited to meetings, strength and conditioning, and physical rehab only. So you're probably getting guys in here like Michael Gallup, who is, coming off of surgery. You're getting some other guys in here who may have got some cleanups or they want to check in on. But it's mostly meetings, limited activities, strength and conditioning, and rehab. So you might hear something come out of the day because it's the Cowboys, right? And any news can be made at the Dallas Cowboys. So-and-so reported, headline, and it'll be news, right? But the other off-season dates to keep in mind heading into training camp is the OTA off-season workouts, May 22nd, 23rd, May 25th, May 30th, June 1st and 2nd, and June 13th through June 13th through June 15th. Those are the off-season workouts, the OTAs, where they are not mandatory, voluntary. Then the mandatory minicamp is June 6th through the 8th. So the dead period that we're in right now is going to come to a halt for about a good month and some change, right? You're going to get rookie minicamp, then you'll get these off-season workouts and you get mandatory minicamp. And then you'll get the dead period again before we hit camp. So we'll keep you up to date on all of that coming out of Dallas. Two Pro said, what do you mean voluntary? Yeah, last year, who was it? Dalton Schultz didn't report trying to get his bread or what have you for his franchise tag. You see it across the league. You see it in New York, matter of fact. New York, the Giants got about 2 or 3 guys that are not reporting. And another one, I believe, is over in Arizona. Budda Baker. I've actually seen that question pop up about Budda Baker and the Cowboys. I don't see that being a situation where the Cowboys will entertain it. We understand how they feel about safeties in general. So them giving up compensation to go get a safety, I don't see it. They've already signed their guy in Dono and got 2 other guys and got some young bucks. But there are a lot of players who are not going to report today. And today you can only do offseason or the first day for returning head coaches. So these new head coaches, which Arizona, I don't even think qualifies. So they wouldn't even be able to start today. You know what I mean? Do I think Diggs will show up for them? I haven't heard anything yet. So it's a valid question. Maybe that's the story, right? Like Trayvon Diggs shows up for camp or shows up for the first day of workouts or doesn't show up. Now, I feel like Diggs, I don't think he missed anything last year, but he was kind of traveling a little bit last year. And he went to his brother's, I think he had like an extension or something. He went to his brother's press conference. So, Diggs does his own thing. Don't be shocked if he doesn't show up to a certain thing, and it'll probably get attached to his contract. But I kind of hope he goes dark earlier this year for camp than he did last year. He is, look, man, he's young. These kids are into the social media. They on here. And I like when he went dark. It was a different version of Diggs we saw at camp when he went dark. So hopefully he does that here earlier than last year. All right, let's before I get to you, Jen, I see you, brother. Let's get to this mailbag segment. Got some solid questions I want to hit up. So let's just start off with that and have some fun with it.
It's time!
It's time.
It is time for
Mail time.
The mail's here. You've got mail.
Got 5 questions from Cowboys Nation, all from YouTube. I want to start off with Darius Wood's question. He said field goals were an issue the past 2 years, and kick returns haven't been top tier. Is Fossil on the hot seat? So, 2021, there was definitely field goal issues with Zerline, right? Fossil came out and talked about it. He kind of was sticking up for his guy. I would have kind of been harder on Fossil back then. Like, hey, man, you're keeping Zerline again. But they didn't. They went out and they got Brett Maher. And Maher was actually damn good in the regular season. He kicked for 90%, which was 8th in the league. So it really wasn't an issue last year. It became an issue in the playoffs, and I can't put that on John Fossil. Your kicker just went haywire. He just starts shanking everything. That ain't on Fossil. So I don't think he's on a hot seat for the field goal situation. And he says the kick returns haven't been top tier. Interesting. So in 2022, they were 11th in kick return average. Not bad. 21, they were 5th. Pretty damn good. The years before Fossil got here, 18 and 19, the Cowboys were 20th and last in kick return average. And they were 6th worst and 3rd worst in punt return average. Last year, punt return average shot up to 8th in 2022. So I don't think there have been issues in the return department. I actually think the Cowboys have gotten better from a return standpoint. And that's with me complaining about Turpin not scoring a touchdown. Look, that's kind of tongue-in-cheek type situation. Yes, the dude is weird in the sense of I don't know how he hasn't had a touchdown. He had plenty of opportunities, but he seems to always press the wrong button. He'll press circle instead of X or something to speed up. And now he's spinning for no reason and running into people. But only 5 teams scored a kick return touchdown last year. Only 3 teams scored a punt return touchdown last year. So, yeah, it's not like every team in the NFL is scoring except the Cowboys. So I can't put the Maher struggles in the playoffs and Turpin's questionable returning and fumbling the ball at the end of the season last year on Fossil. But since Fossil has been here, they've been one of the best defensive return teams in the league. That has went up tremendously from the guy he replaced. So I don't think Fossil's on a hot seat at all. I think Fossil, revitalized Maher's career last year. And then, it's not his fault. It went to shit in the playoffs. And then he took a USFL guy, and I'm not going to use the Pro Bowl thing, but he was a solid part of this team from a return standpoint for about 85% of the season. The 2 fumbles in that situation in the playoffs were questionable, but for most of the season, we get on him, but it's more so because he scored a damn touchdown. So no, I don't think Fossil's on the hot seat. I think he's still one of the best special teams coaches in the National Football League. And I am very interested to see where they go from a field goal standpoint. Do they draft a guy late? Do they sign a guy undrafted free agency? Who knows? But I like Fossil. I would like to keep him around. I feel like if he was on the market, he gets scooped up very fast by a team looking for a special teams guy. For sure. Toxic said, why is Maher at the very least not back in camp? He had one bad game and had an all-pro worthy season. They are out on Maher. They must have seen something that happened in that Tampa game. And if we're being honest, he also shanked that first one in San Francisco, and it got blocked though. But that saved him but that thing was not going in. I think they see his mental, and it feels like when your mental is going as a kicker, you can forget about it. I remember Mike Vanderjagt was one of the best kickers at that time in National Football League history. And he gets to Dallas, and I believe it was the blocked field goal against the rest in peace Sean Taylor-led Washington Redskins at that point. And then Vanderjagt just wasn't the same ever again. He really wasn't the same when he got to Dallas, but it got worse. And then boom, next thing you know, it's a wrap for Vanderjagt. But much like golfers, y'all golf out there, if you're in your head, man, it takes a while to get out. So maybe they see something in Maher. Maybe they're not confident that, he can get rid of the yips and they're ready to move forward. I mean, we are talking about a guy who historically kind of been untrustworthy, but he did bounce back. Maybe they're looking at him regressing and saying, hey, he's going to go back to what he was. I don't know. But I don't mind them bringing in the same competition like they did last year. They brought in Hallelujah and Maher, and they competed, and you got a guy. So do that again this year. Do that again. Daryl, the decided Brewer. Appreciate you, D Woods and Daryl. Says, come away with 2 MFers. Should we trade a high or relatively high pick for a starting, quote, or not quote, but parentheses, Pro Bowl left guard and a starting tight end that can block and catch? Example, a 1 or 2 for left guard and a 3 or 4 for that tight end. Then draft BPA. You got to give up value to get value. Dak is in his prime now. It's a handful there, Daryl. So I think the Cowboys missed out on that opportunity to trade for a left guard. Shaq Mason was a guy that, I was talking to you guys about prior to him getting traded again, I believe, for another 5th round pick. So I don't think that's on the table anymore. I think they signed their contingency plan in left guard in Chimo Udoga, and that's probably out the window. So in your example, trading a 1 or 2 for a left guard, I would not do that either. I'm not aware of any top tier left guard that is available that will cost that much. And even if so, are we talking about prime Zach Martin or Quentin Nelson? I mean, that's kind of what I would trade that for. I'm not trading a 1 or 2 for a left guard. I'll just draft that left guard. Unless it's one of those type guys. A 3 or 4 for a tight end. I also don't see the point of doing that either. I think you have your tight end that can block and catch in Ferguson. You also have a really nice number 2 complimentary guy in Hendershot that you can move around. In fact, right now you can go line up and play. You can go line up and play at tight end and have a quality room, in my opinion. But you can also add to that room in a draft anywhere. So, I wouldn't trade a day 3 or 4 or around 3 or 4 pick for a tight end. Again, unless you're getting one of the top 2 or 3 guys in the league. But these things, after the top 3 guys or so, it just fluctuates a lot. So, I'm good off of that one. And I'm definitely not trading a 1 or a 2 for a left guard. No way, no how. No way, no how. Let's see here what y'all talking about. Brugler mocked Mayor to Dallas today. That's another one. Mocking Mayor to Dallas. Look, nothing is off the table in that round, including them tight ends. Look, I may be out on it, but that doesn't mean the Cowboys are. Tripp says, believe in the picks you have. Fournier, Lindstrom, Simi, get actual players to help you beat the Niners. Believe in the picks you already have and get actual players to help you beat the Niners. So Fournier, Lindstrom, we'll see. Those guys come in camp. They'll compete for reserve roles. I wouldn't put everything into them. I wouldn't put all my belief into them. I would actually be trying to draft their replacements and try to upgrade from those guys. Simi is a guy that I actually like a lot, but Simi's going to have to do the same thing those guys are going to have to go out there and prove it. But I wouldn't. They're not stopping me from doing anything. They're not stopping me from trying to upgrade from those guys from a depth standpoint. I'm hoping to actually get better from them so we can make this roster better. And then he said, get actual players to help you beat the Niners. I mean, always, right? Always trying to get better to beat the team you lost to if they got better, which I think the Niners did. Just got to see what happens with their quarterback situation. AB can. Oh well, we'll get to that. That's later. We'll get to that. Maher missed 5 points in the playoff game. Yeah. I'm fine with them moving on from Brett Maher, without a doubt. Let's get L. Gene in the building. I haven't heard from you in a while, man. Good morning, good sir.
What's going on, Scott? How you doing this morning, man?
I'm good, my man. How are you?
Oh man, I'm blessed to be alive. See another day, man. Just was thinking about this draft, man, and I hate to be one of those like one player away guys, but man, if you could come away with a stud on the offensive line and still continues his rehab and can be even close to what he was last year in the run game, the power you have on that offensive line with Tyler Biadasz getting better and the power of Tyler Smith, and you got to think he's going to get his peanut butter this year. So he'll probably come back even stronger than he was last year, man. And I just feel like this draft, if you get you an offensive lineman that can come in and play like the previous offensive linemen you draft, you cooking with fish grease, because San Francisco did exactly what they did the year before. They stuffed the run, and they told Dak, here, beat us, and we couldn't. But what I want to see is you get back in late January, your defense plays like it did last year and get a 3-and-out, and then you got a 9-play, 60-yard drive 7 runs and 2 passes. And, like, you know.
That's how you close out a game.
Close out a game. I mean, it just seems like Dallas, the sexy pick is just always the best thing here in Dallas. Sexy pick. And I love Bijan. Don't get me wrong, I love Bijan, but you got a Bijan light in Tony Pollard if that leg is right. Are you talking from a fan standpoint? Because not from a front office standpoint. They believe the sexy pick is offensive line. I mean, they've drafted 4 offensive linemen in the first round since 2011. They hadn't drafted an offensive lineman in the first round under Jerry Jones up until that point. So I don't think they believe the sexy pick is whatever you believe the fans think it is. They understand offensive line. They get it. They got 4 of them in round 1, and potentially could have 5. So. And I love it because a tight end. I mean, I get it, the whole tight end thing. You know, the next Travis Kelce. But what was the one thing that plagued that? And it was in the first game. Pressure from the offensive line breaking down, man.
Oh,
you gotta
Tampa Bay.
fortify that offensive line. You gotta fortify that offensive line. And then my last thing is San Francisco, like you said, got better. Not only did they get better, they added a Pro Bowl defensive tackle in Javon Hargrave, who gave us fits.
Yep.
If you don't fortify that middle of that offensive line, man, it's going to be the same thing over and over. I mean,
so when you say fortify that offensive line, what do you mean by that? Do you mean they have to take a guy in the first round, or do you believe they can grab a guy?
I'm not going to say I'm not going to say you have to take a guy in the first round, but you got to get this thing right, man. You have to, because you got a gaping hole at left guard, man.
Right.
And people are saying, you know, Tyler Smith kick in and Tyron Smith is, you know, plays left tackle, but we know how that story's going to end.
Yeah, I'm not.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, don't count on that.
So what I'm saying is I'm not going to say they put themselves in a corner, but they got to hit, man. They have to. Whether it's a left tackle or a right tackle, you have to hit on an offensive lineman this year, man. And it's just, man, because we're so close, man. I know it. We're so close, man.
I got you. I got a theory, too, on this. Hey, man, appreciate your call, LG.
All right, Scott, you be careful, man. You have a wonderful week, man. Love the show. God bless you and your family, brother.
Thanks, brother. You as well. As my man L was talking, I was sitting there thinking, I wonder if a schematic change is going to help. Not just his offensive line, obviously the offense in general, but maybe the perception of what Dallas needs to do up front, because I think we're molded to think that, hey, man, we absolutely have to draft all these linemen early all the time because that's what got the Cowboys rings early. And that's what's been hitting with Travis Frederick and Zach Martin. And now we have Tyler Smith and Tyron Smith. And we've been hitting. It's been working. You know, it is what it is. But I wonder if just a simple schematic change will help an average guy, because every team may have a few Pro Bowlers, but they also have Isaac Seumalo or Seumalo or whatever his name is. They also have McGlinchey's, and they also have these kind of just run-of-the-mill average offensive linemen, but they have an exceptional offensive line or scheme that kind of hides them or accentuates their strengths, right? So, look, they've put themselves in a hole to where offensive guard 100% has to be a position that they draft in the top 3 rounds, I think. However, I just wonder if a simple schematic change can help take Bijan to the next level, can help take that 2nd or 3rd round guard to the next level, can take Tyler Smith, although we believe Tyler can fit in that same mold as some of the other 1st round guys. But just wonder, because not every team is drafting offensive linemen in the 1st round like this, you know? And maybe that was what they needed to do based off of the kind of mundane scheme they've been running, especially in the run game, since Bill Callahan has left. If we're being real, I mean, Bill Callahan took a undrafted guy in Ron Leary, made him look like a stud. Took a dude in Doug Free who was about to flame the hell out at left tackle, move him to right tackle. He was right to move left and move back. And Doug Free became a kind of a rock over there at right tackle. Took a Jeremy Parnell, made Jeremy Parnell look good. So what I'm saying is coaching kind of matters, scheme kind of matters. And the Dallas hadn't really had that kind of quality coaching or scheme to elevate some of these linemen. They've had to rely on the exceptional talent of drafting a Zach Martin and Tyron Smith and Travis Frederick and now Tyler, the Smiths, whatever. And hoping that a guy like Tyler Biadasz could step up. Now, Tyler Biadasz has been solid, but I'm not going to go as far as say he's like those other guys. So just something I thought about. Wonder if this scheme is going to help these guys. Chris, what's good, man?
Yo, Scott, what's going on, bro?
What's up with you?
How was the weekend?
It was great, man. It was great.
Hey, so I know we both like Mozzie Smith. Do you think the Cowboys would drop him at 26?
Nah, I don't think so. It would be a first. They just don't draft those guys early.
Yeah, because I think he's such a good player, man. Every single time I watch him, I want him more on this team, but I'm not getting my hopes up. Hey, so I went back and watched the Week 6 game against the Eagles because I wanted to see how the tight ends performed without Dalton Schultz. I think there's a legitimate argument to be made that you got probably your best tight end play outside of maybe that Tampa Bay game from that Philly game without Dalton Schultz. Like, I think that those tight ends, Ferguson, Hendershot, and even McEwen, had a pretty good game just as a unit against Philadelphia with Cooper Rush, and even with Cooper Rush missing some throws.
They had a good second half. You know, once who was it? Kellen Moore started to actually feature them for whatever reason in that game. If you guys remember, it's funny because I actually went back and watched it looking for Dalton or Jake Ferguson, plays. If he for whatever reason thought he could just outthrow that secondary at that point in defense with Cooper Rush, it was maddening. They didn't feature the tight ends at all. They were kept in the block too much. They were just not a part of the offense. Then that last possession to end the half, they started doing some play action stuff, getting them guys involved, came out in the second half, did some play action stuff, got those guys moving around, and you start to see it working a bit. But if you want to look at a game where from quarter one to the last quarter where they were featured and they played well, go watch the Giants game. Those boys were banging on the interior, the first one. Those boys were out on routes. They were featured. They had plays for them. That could be kind of an inkling of what you can get from them. But with the better quarterback in Dak Prescott, who can put that ball, up the seams with some of those guys, who was actually looking for the tight ends, because there was too many times where early on, Cooper Rush wasn't looking for Dalton Schultz or Jake Ferguson, in those first couple of games. It had to be game plan to those dudes. And I think you can miss some opportunities. I don't think Dak would miss those opportunities if he sees it pre-snap.
Yeah, I saw, I think it was week 3 of 2021. They ran this tight end screen that was a beautifully designed play. I would love to see them bring that back to the offense, especially with Jake Ferguson, because, once he gets the ball in his hands, he's so hard to bring down. There was a play in that Eagles game where Jake Ferguson had Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in another continent.
Yeah. Yeah, Jake is...
So I would love to see...
Jake is sneaky. I hate to use that term, sneaky athletic, because he's not. When he's on the field, he's athletic as hell. But his numbers aren't going to wow you from a combine standpoint or whatever. But when you put on the film, when you get the ball in his hands, he's not easy to bring down. You want a yak machine, like 70% of his yards were yak. He's making dudes miss. He's jumping over guys. Like there's this weird thought that Jake Ferguson can't do what these guys coming out can, and I disagree with that.
And he's a good route runner too. Like he's a sneaky good route runner.
Hey man, I think he is everything you need to have in the tight end. Like I just do.
Yeah, I really hope they really start to feature him, because I don't think he was featured nearly enough in this offense.
Yeah, he wasn't last year, but he's a rookie behind Dalton Schultz, so that didn't surprise me. I think what surprised me is when Schultz was out in some of these games, they didn't kind of go to him. Because if they would have went to him a little bit more, maybe they would have saw like, hey, do we want to put Schultz back in? But when Schultz came back in, he was kind of that quarterback best friend, reliable, going to be where he needs to be. But I just think it can become a bit predictable when he's in the game because he's not running every single type of route, right? And you saw that happen in the San Fran game where they knew what was coming before the play was coming and almost got housed for a pick six.
Yeah, and I'll land the plane on this. So I was in this group chat, and clearly there are people that don't like the Cowboys in there. They said, Jake Ferguson's nothing but a fullback. And my response was, F around and find out. You're going to see this year.
A fullback? What chat you in?
Oh, I mean, this is the chat that was saying Kirk and Daniel Jones are better than Dak Prescott. So
boy.
I knew there wasn't much productivity coming out of that chat. So.
Oh boy, yeah. Do yourself a favor.
We'll find out this year.
Save some brain cells from that chat, bro. Appreciate you, Chris.
All right, bro.
A fullback? What are you talking about, man? Let's get back into the mailbag real quick. All right, single 2,000 pounds. That's an interesting YouTube name. Appreciate you, though, for the question. He says, Bijan is hard to pass at 26. So in a perfect Cowboys world, what all players, he imagines it's less than 10, would you pick over Bijan if they were all available? Look, there's not a lot. I'm not in the quarterback market, so if for whatever reason the top quarterback falls for you at 26, maybe you add those quarterback names, but I'm not really in the quarterback market, so I only got about 4, and 2 of them is questionable. So Jalen Carter, Will Anderson, not going to be there, but if they are, okay. Those are 2. Broderick Jones and Paris Johnson are interesting because they are left tackles that I think allow you to kick Tyler Smith into left guard, and now you have that left side solidified for years to come. But I don't know how many. Cowboys Nation, y'all list me the names of players you're taking over Bijan if they're there at 26. Now, we did this game, I think it was last week, where we played the mock draft, and I think it was Nolan. Was Nolan Smith there? I think Nolan Smith, I think Will McDonald were on the board in Calvin Watkins' mock draft, and he took Bijan because Bijan. But from a just pure player for player, who am I taking over him in a perfect world? It's not a lot, It's not too many, man. JSN, maybe. Nah, I would take Bijan. Joey Porter. That was the cornerback. I was thinking maybe if Christian Gonzalez, Joey Porter is there. That's a conversation to have. I'm not mad at that conversation either. I don't think it's a lot, man. Good morning, Steve. He said he can see the Eagles taking Bijan just so the Cowboys can't get on him. If they take him, it ain't because of the Cowboys. If they take him, it's because they know they could do some damage with him. Witherspoon, I don't know. I feel like Porter or Gonzalez make a little bit more sense from what the Cowboys like to do, but Witherspoon's he's a beast too. That's what I was thinking, Jay. Nolan and Will McDonald were on the list last year, but that's tough. I mean, Nolan Smith plays the money 5 position. So does Will, but Will's more so viewed as round 2 type of guy. I just don't think there's a lot. He said less than 10. I agree. I think it is definitely less than 10. 100%. Let's get DJ on the horn. He called in. I see you listening to some names, DJ. Good morning, good brother.
Good morning. Good morning. I hope all went well. You had a good weekend, sir.
Yes, indeed. Hope you did as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, yeah, with that, there's not a lot of names. I mean, like I listed JSN, I was like, I think that's the only real one if we're having a real conversation, just because of the whole Brandon Cook situation. He's a 2-year situation where JSN would be a 5-year conversation. So that's the only one that I truly have any kind of argument for. But yeah, man, the reason I called in was, everybody's been talking a lot, and I get it. And I dropped a super chat earlier, so mentioning this, but basically with the O line, I think it's kind of getting overhyped on the level of need. Like there's no question that they need a left guard. For depth purposes, for performance purposes, they need a left guard. But you don't necessarily have to take it in the first 3 rounds in my mind. I prefer that just so we know we're getting a solid guy with the ability of this team to draft. But I don't think I view how the O-line was last year, which is a completely different makeup. But the performance they did last year, if everything went in line, they played well enough that they could have gone further than they did, and they probably did play well enough in that San Francisco game turn win. It was Dak and everybody else that kind of held things up on the offensive side of things.
I think they were good in pass blocking for sure, but I think they needed some help from a run blocking standpoint because they couldn't match up with them man on man, right? Like they couldn't just go out there and just block their ass off against that defensive line. So they needed kind of some schematics, get some east-west game going, get to the outside, and they just never, Kellen never helped them in that manner.
For sure, and you mentioned it earlier, and that was where I was going next. I was like, schematically, for a long time, it was just, downhill, 3 yards, 4 yards in the cloud of dust. If we got more and we broke one, hey, that's what we got. And there was nothing outside of like the weird yo-yo motions back and forth, and Tony, instead of just handing the ball to Tony and letting him rock, like they put him in motion and do all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of things they could have done schematically to kind of help that. Could they have been better? Absolutely. But I don't. Everybody's talking like it was one of the worst O-lines in the league, and I know the whole pass rush win rate and all that kind of stuff. But if you're just looking at the film and you're watching them, they had their good moments, they had their bad moments, they had their awful moments. But as a whole, it's not something that I'm like, oh, my God, we got to fix this today. I think the only thing that we need to fix today is the depth conversation and making sure that we actually have a number 1 left guard to put out on the field when the season starts. But
I think that's what everybody is screaming, though. I think everyone is screaming exactly what everyone is saying, oh, my God, we have to fix left guard and depth. But I want to get back to your original point in your super chat. I don't think you're wrong in the sense of we definitely need a left guard, but it doesn't have to be in round 1. I think when we think draft, that's what we always think, right? Definitely day 1. They make you put everything into the first round because it's 1 round. So when we come away, say the Cowboys don't take the left guard, guarantee you the Twitter world is going to melt down. Cowboys Nation is going to melt down. But what if they take the guy in the second? So that's why if you listen, I continually say they got to get one in the top 3 rounds. That's kind of where I'm at with it. If it's not round 1, that's cool. I think they can find a guy that they can plug between the Tylers, because that's what it should be, Tyler and Tyler. And I think with an upgrade schematically, and you got Tyler Smith in year 2, Tyler Biadasz, who knows what he's doing, I think you can actually still be a very productive offense. We are, at the end of the day, we're talking about essentially left guard. And I'm not trying to diminish any position on the front line, but we're not talking about the need to find a center. We're not talking about the need to find a left tackle, right? So I'm with you. They need a left guard. If it's not in the first round, then it is not the end of the world.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess that was my main thing of trying to communicate this morning, man. But I appreciate you. I'll let you get back to it. You have a good rest of your morning, sir.
Thanks, DJ. And that was DJ Super Chat. I'll read it here. There you go. Get that one out the way.
Super Chat.
DJ basically said what he said here on the phone. He said, I've come to the conclusion that the need for O-line is slightly overhyped. They definitely need to draft a left guard, but they don't need to draft one in the first round. The latter part I 100% agree with. I don't necessarily think it's overhyped. I think it's a need. It's a need. It's the only blinking red light need, so it's going to get that type of hype. But I don't think it has to be in the first. They do. Obviously, it makes sense. If they don't, pick it up, see what's there in the second round. Appreciate the super chat though. DJ.
Super Chat.
And then DC for Life Texas dropped one and said, good morning, Sky. What up, Cowboys Nation? Let's go Cowboys. Facts. Okay. Got some more calls coming in, but let's get back to this mailbag. CJ, shout out to my guy CJ, aka Cold Jelly over here on YouTube. He says, do you think we have any tradable players that have enough value that we can use in the draft to trade up in round 3 or 4 or in the upcoming season? So the latter part of in the upcoming season, we won't know until we get to camp and preseason where some of these players' value kind of rises. But as we speak right now, I decided to go take a look, and there's not a whole lot of options. Really weird, but there really isn't a whole lot of realistic guys. We're not talking about trading our top guys to move up and around. You're looking at super depth dudes. And obviously the biggest name that comes up is Jordan Lewis, right? He's the first one that comes to mind, but he's coming off an injury. Is a team willing to trade their 3rd or 4th round pick for him? Or are you packaging Jordan Lewis and a pick just to move up in the 3rd or 4th? I don't know. But J. Lou kind of seems like the biggest name of them all because he's got a pedigree. He's a 3rd round draft pick. He's been around the league for a while. He's had some success. J. Lou comes to mind. Then you start thinking, Israel Mukuamu, an upcoming young player. But do you want to move off of a guy like that with some huge upside that just to move up in the 3rd or 4th round? I don't think so. I don't think so. But when you go look at the depth chart, man, it ain't a whole lot. And see, that's the thing with Dorrance, Rolo. When I'm thinking of the starters, I ain't trading Dorrance Armstrong to move up in the 3rd round. No. It to me, it just wouldn't be worth. I mean, who's there? Who is somebody falling? Is some ridiculous player falling? I wouldn't trade Dorrance to move up in the 3rd round. But J. Lou, Rolo, that's the one for me. J. Lou, Semi. Oh, move Semi to tight end. Yeah, I don't think that. But go look at the depth chart. Y'all find me names that you'd be willing to trade to move up in the 3rd or 4th round. Not too many. So Rolo's saying no, just for a 3rd in general, possibly get a 3rd in general. It'd be one of those situations where I'm on the clock and it's got to be a guy I am super high on to do it. Because the more and more I look at the draft, because we had this conversation about Dorrance before, and I struggled with the 3rd round pick for Dorrance, and I'm kind of back and forth on it. But the more and more I dive into the draft, I look at the 3rd round. I'm like, I think I'd keep DA for depth purposes. He's obviously going to be a starter, but I'd love for Sam Williams to be the starter, and DA and him could kind of bounce off each other. Because I think if Dorrance Armstrong is kind of a guy who gets to play 110%, play at 110%, but not 100% of the snaps, although he's not, I like that better than him being the starter and he's kind of fizzling out by season's end. So Neville Gallimore, you got to watch the show. So we had a little joke about Neville. I just don't see a team doing it. Like, think about this. Here's the question you got to ask yourself. Would you trade for that player and give up your 3rd or 4th round pick? Ain't no way in hell I'm trading my 3rd or 4th round pick for no Neville. Lemaitre would trade LVE for a good 3rd round pick. Oh boy. Are we signing some backers? Because that room is already super light. I don't know that I would do that. Just because of the room is light. Like, I'm willing to move off of LVE, but I'm willing to do so low key with LVE in the room, if that makes sense. Like, if we had got I don't know, Bobby Wagner, I'm cool with moving off of LVE, but meaning he ain't your starter or he ain't the middle linebacker. But you get rid of LVE, your room is even worse. So there ain't too many. Ain't too many, man. That question really made me think. 727, good morning. What you think about that one?
Hello.
Yes, sir. 727, you are live.
Hey, how you doing there, young Skywalker? This is Mr. Amos here.
Good morning, Mr. Amos.
How you been?
Famous Amos.
Yeah. You know what? We got a lot of Cowboy fans panic at the thought of the Eagles getting Bijan Robinson. I hope they do get it. The reason why, that whole offense is going to change. Somebody is going to two people in that offense is going to disappear. First of all, they don't have the same offensive coordinator.
You don't?
Then they're going to have to figure out how to distribute the ball between him, Devontae, and A.J. Brown. What you going to do with that run option when you got the number 10 pick, when you got your quarterback there trying to run it at the same time? Or is he going to depreciate the value of one Jalen Hurts that's going to try to make him out of a pocket passer?
Ooh, come on.
So the same offense we seen and Garland, because they paid all those people. And they like their stats, they like their money, and regardless of what people think, A.J. Brown got a mouth on him. And once he don't get that ball, something's going to happen. Jalen Hurts can get nervous when things don't go right. You got to have a plan when you get him, especially there's going to be a lot of pressure on to use that guy at 10. Now, to me, regardless of the way they switch around and get him, to me, it's going to be a poison pill to them. It's got to be a team that's used to having a plan with a running back, like, our team, the Chargers, the Redskins. I mean, teams that, have a scheme, run the ball, they can plant someone in and keep the momentum going and don't have to change their offense drastically to appease some player or just to appease the fans. Another thing, I want to talk about, and that's going to be it. I know the Cowboys like Avila, but what do you think is going to go around about the 40s, 45? To me, I wouldn't mind trading back in the second, sacrificing something to get your guard, because they do need a guard. They don't have to necessarily draft one, but they show damn well need one. Whether they try to trade or move somewhere around during draft day with somebody that has a good guard. I was looking at a scenario on one of these simulated drafts where the Saints would have traded us, Ruiz, their center.
So, are you saying trade out of the first round, or you're saying you get?
Well, I'm saying trade back in, maybe trade somehow to sacrifice to try to move from 58 down into the 40s to try to get you Avila.
Okay, yeah, I think Avila is a second round graded player for me. I think if he goes in round one, it'll be a team like Dallas that takes him. But if not, I think he can be available in a second. Where in a second? That's a different story. Trading up though, I'm just so hesitant on trade. I'd much rather trade the pick for a better player. When you start talking about trading premium picks and trading up in the premium rounds, first and second, it can be it can get expensive. I mean, look, if it's a guy that they love, man, and they willing to part with the day 3 pick, sure. But if it means I can't pick again until pick 100 and something, boy, that better be a dude, man. That better be a dude.
Yeah, that would definitely be a starter. I mean, if you think he's got the starting potential, pull the trigger.
Yeah. Hey, if they believe that's their guy, look, I'm not upset with it, but the compensation is really what's gonna matter.
Well, they got to toe into all this so far. But all right, young man, you take care, man, and don't worry. I hope the Eagles, self-destruct that they usually do, try to overload the plate so much that it all runs off on the floor. Take care there, my young brother.
I love it, man. Where my guy at? My man called in and said, Philly.
I ain't scared of you, mother.
Good goddamn if y'all get Bijan Robinson. I'm all for callers calling in and shitting on Philly. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm all for it. I know a guy that's been shitting on Philly on Twitter and just been absolutely clowning the Eagle fans. It's my man, Boss Cowboy. Boss Cowboy, what's good, brother?
Hey, what's going on, Sky?
What's up with you, man? You've been holding it down on Twitter, dog.
Oh, man, I appreciate it, bro. Been having fun going to war with the enemy.
Yeah.
I actually do think that offensive line is a need and left guard is a major need, and I'm actually on the opposite side to where I think we should be extremely aggressive to move up, like extremely aggressive. I think we should maybe even move up to like 19, 18, something like that. Yeah.
For who? Who you got in mind?
The reason being, because I agree with the vision that I think we can win games and we can be competitive. Without that, I stand with you on that. I'm thinking that the right player is a hump pick for us if we get the right guy, right?
You know,
so
I like the
like
hump
a guy
players.
like put us over the hump, you know. So like for instance, I was thinking about like the times to where the offensive line really carried us, like 2014. You know, that offensive line carried a bad defense, no names. 2015, that offensive line carried McFadden, old man McFadden, right, and no quarterbacks. And then in 2016, obviously, it helped the young Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott have one of their best years and highest averages. And so when I'm looking at the landscape as well, one thing that Mike Marks talked about that went under the radar is he said he'd been watching the landscape of the NFL for the last 10 years and trying to adapt to passing leagues has leaned the linebackers. And we can even see that with our own team, with us taking Kurtz, putting them in the box, even having Dunno putting them in the box, drafting a dude like Cox because we have a vision for him to be that tweener linebacker. So everything that we've seen with our own team is happening around the league, and it creates an opportunity for a team that have enough foundational pieces to really bully teams. So we got like Steele, that's a bully guy. Zach Martin, bully guy. Tyler, bully guy. If we just got one more and put him at left guard and got aggressive, I think we could really take advantage of the tweener linebackers and the smaller guys, you know, and that's why I'm thinking we should maybe get aggressive.
Right. So
because it's just too many dominoes that fall.
You're saying aggressive, but I'm not for who? Because if I'm moving up in the first round to get it, I don't know, there's not a guard I'm moving up in the first round for. So I'm thinking, just trying to think how maybe you're thinking. Are you thinking maybe move up in the first round to get a tackle and then move Tyler Smith to guard?
No. I'm actually thinking about being creative and moving up and targeting somebody like a Darnell Wright or Broderick Jones. So like Broderick Jones is a left side player similar to Tyler Smith, right, who play both left tackle and left guard, and very physical, very mauler type. You know,
right?
The most technically sound.
But Broderick's a left tackle. Are you looking to kick him inside, or are you talking about?
Well, he plays some left guard as well, so I call him a left side player because he played both. Now, his senior year, he played left tackle.
Yeah,
but throughout his career, he's played some left guard.
I think look, if I'm taking Broderick, I would slide Tyler in. But Darnell Wright,
you definitely could.
That seems fun.
You definitely could. Yeah, you definitely could, and that's the good thing about him and Tyler Smith is the flex of both of those guys.
So essentially, you're trading up to do what I was saying. You're trading up to take a tackle, and you're moving them to guard. Because I don't see a guard worthy of trading up for.
No, it's no guards. No, I'm not doing that for Osiris, but I'm doing that to be creative. So, like, for instance, and then historically in the leagues, your best guards have been first tackles. So, like, Zach Martin was a tackle. Ron Leary was a tackle. Yeah. You know? So, like, the people that we reference as solid on our squad was first tackles. And I think it's not like a perfect fit if we try to target a left guard. But in my opinion, if we looked at, like, players that have the talent, and if we was willing to really coach them up and work with those guys and kind of get them engrafted into this offensive line, I think it could work. I think it would have to be the right guy, though. So like a Broderick Jones, a Darnell Wright, to me, they are perfect. Now, would I lose sleep if we don't? No, but I will feel way more comfortable about this window for 2023 with one of those young studs in the middle.
Oh, look, we'd all be extremely excited to get one. I mean, for those who are, looking to grab an offensive lineman early, I just wish we knew what we were getting out of our scheme. And that's kind of the wait and see thing, because I don't know, boss, I just got this weird feeling that Mike Solari, Schottenheimer, and McCarthy, we keep talking about how they're going to help the receivers. I think they're going to also help this offensive line, man. So whether they get that guy in round 1 or round 2, I think they'll be elevated by Solari's coaching and scheme, Schottenheimer being able to play off of that, and then McCarthy understanding, right, that, hey, these big boys up front actually matter, and we're going to be a little bit better situationally. So I wish we knew a little bit more from that.
Yeah, and the good news is that this is one of the deeper hybrid classes that I've ever seen. And, you know, I've never seen a class with so many tackle slash guards and guys that played all over the offensive line. So, like, you know, in the past we've gotten burned, like with Connor Williams, right? We got him as a premium second round pick that never really fully matured into what we wanted him to be. I would say we also got burned by Connor McGovern, right? So those are two premium picks, top three round picks that never really replaced Leary. So if they thinking like that, I would just hope that they get aggressive. But if they don't, I'm not going to cry. I think there's other guys you can target for round 2. But if we don't get that guy round 1, I want to ask you, I think round 2 would be somewhere where we also have to be aggressive. Like, I'm saying, like, go up and get your guy just like we did with Tank. We was aggressive to go get Tank when he was drafted out of Boise State. I think that left guard with a perfect Mauler type would really take us over. So let's say if we even didn't go with a right in the first, right, or a Broderick Jones, yep. I think Matthew Bergeron out of Syracuse would be my primary target for round 2 because it's not that many real quality, true Mauler killers, you know, and they're going to go, you know, because the film is not lying about these guys. Now, Matthew would be third on my list on pure Mauler killer, left tackle, left guard. But if we don't get aggressive round 1, we definitely got to do it round 2. What's your thoughts on that?
The previous caller just basically said that. He was saying, hey, what about trading up into like the 40s? And I'm saying that guy better be a guy that you can plug and play. And if they believe in it, then, you know, listen, it is what it is. But if you're okay with taking a guy, you know, at 40, whatever, and then not picking again to the hundreds, that's fine, right? But who's the guy and what is the compensation? That, you know, the context it's tough to figure out because we're talking hypothetically. And what is the supply and demand? Because if we're picking at 58, Cowboys 58, right? If we're sitting at 42 and an interior offensive line, only one interior offensive lineman has come off the board, I think they have to have that conversation in the room like, hey, man, we've got about 5 names on this list that we absolutely believe we can draft between 58 and 90. And none of them have been taken, or only one of them been taken. So do you play that? Do we kind of just wait a little bit longer to see when that supply and demand starts to hit us, or do we go up and do it now? So it's a lot of conversation that'll probably have to happen in that room. But if you like the Syracuse guy, they love Avila. If Osiris falls, you know, if their guy is in striking distance and McClay and Solari and McCarthy are like, no, that's our guy right there, then go do it. Do what you got to do to get your guy.
And just real quick, I don't want to take up too much of the other callers' time. The first run is likely going to be on tackle.
Oh, yeah.
Because obviously so that leaves pretty much Matthew. You know what I mean? Because it's Peter, Paris, Broderick, Anton, DeJuan, Darnell, maybe Cody, and Matthew, right? So if that first run happened in the first round, which it likely will, that's going to leave likely maybe Cody Mock. I know you like him. I like him too. Matthew Bergeron. So with it only being 2 left, they'll be likely gone. So that's why I'm thinking that's where the Dallas Cowboys would have to get aggressive, you know. So that's just my thoughts on it, bro. Because I'm just seeing a vision of us adding that interior guy that where we really, truly, finally this time get the true Leary replacement. But this time we'll be adding a dominant line to a top defense. That top line back in the day was carrying bad defense. If we get a great interior where we can bully these little linebackers, control the line of scrimmage, control tempo, control the floor of the game, you know, protect Dak, and help the receivers. It's just so many dominoes, and we're going to have a committee back. We're going to have a committee back system, no doubt. So we're going to have a committee system. To me, that should be like premium.
I mean, so it's the blinking red light. It's the blinking red light, boss. Appreciate your call, brother.
All right, big dog. Appreciate you.
Make sure y'all check out Boss Cowboys Sports everywhere, especially here on YouTube, man. Appreciate you, big dog. That is, man, that's the blinking red light, you know, is left guard, you know, offensive line. Well, left side, we'll just say that because you can slide Tyler in if they elect to do that. I should ask him about Mafi. I was interested to know if he was a fan of Mafi at some point in day 3 or late day 2. But yeah, man, the caller at the beginning of the show really made me. Was it the caller or was it DJ? I can't remember who. DJ was a caller. Made me think about the schematics of things. Yeah, man, you want to have as many beasts up front as possible. I don't think, like he said, I'm not losing sleep if they don't take that guy in round 1. I do think there's a possibility there's going to be a left side player for you available in round 2 if that doesn't happen. What I don't want them to do is reach in round 1, is skip over certain guys because they got to take a Cody Mauch or something like that. They believe, oh man, it's the last chance we got to get a guy. End of the day, if there's a player at a money 5 spot that's way above your board, I wouldn't like them to pass on that for the guard. I would much rather them be patient and then maybe get aggressive in round 2 if they need to. I just got this confidence in Mike Solari, though. I do. I feel like whatever guy they take in the top 100, he's going to pick the one that fits them correctly, and the Cowboys will be fine offensively. Now, the Ron Leary situation, like we talked about earlier, Ron Leary wasn't drafted. And it's crazy. We're still chasing the ghost of Ron Leary's past, but that guy wasn't drafted. He was undrafted. I believe he took a year, developed, and he became that dude. Now, if we're just looking for a flat out mauler and we can develop, the mafias, we talk about the world, we can develop the pass block and stuff as we go. I think you're going to find you one in the top, 100. I think you can find you one in the top 100. So it's going to be fascinating to see how they view this spot. For me, I'm all about the trenches in the early round 1 or 2. So whether that be tackle, guard, or on the other side of the ball, defensive tackle, I'm trying to walk away with one of them. It don't have to be round 1, but if it is, I'll be a happy camper. Not going to lie to you. I'll be a happy camper. Let's finish up this mailbag, and we got a couple more callers, and we get up out of here. Kendrick Thompson. Shout out to UKT. He says, re-signing Anthony Brown should be a priority for this defense. Or should re-signing Anthony Brown be a priority for this defense? He thinks so. I can give my thoughts later. Well, Kendrick, if you in here, come on in. Give me your thoughts. Because for me, hell no. A priority, and that's the word I'm leaning on. Anthony Brown being a priority? No. But there have been sources that told CowboysSI.com that Brown is in the DFW rehabbing under the supervision of the professionals inside the Star. So he's rehabbing his Achilles injury at the Star. But a priority? Mm-mm. In fact, I'd make it drafting a cornerback in the top 100 a priority over bringing AB back. I'd also probably sign another cornerback before I bring AB back. And look, man, salute AB. A success story in this league. No doubt about it. 6th-round pick, starter for multiple years, has some successful seasons. Appreciate you, man. They signed their guy in Gilmore, right? Yeah, if he goes down, there's depth things you have to deal with, right? You moved Ron Bland out there. You still got. So I do think they are covered from a depth standpoint this year to be better equipped if one of their guys goes down. Now, if 2 or 3 go down like what happened last year, I mean, most teams are going to struggle to throw out guys that are adequate. And Dallas did that. They struggled last year to throw guys out there. Look, if you want to bring him back for pennies and you say, hey, AB, you're competing for the slot in cornerback 5, I suppose. But where is AB fitting here? Stephon Gilmore, Jordan Lewis, Deron Bland, Trayvon Diggs. Gilmore, Diggs, and Bland, to me, are your top 3 guys. They're going to be the 2 boundary guys and then Deron Bland on the slot. J. Lou and AB can compete for cornerback 4. Also, what is AB's mentality? Does AB want to go play? Because he ain't playing here. Barring injury, he ain't getting on this field. So, no, and it's not like he was. Here's the messed up part about the Cowboys cornerback situation last year. AB wasn't good. But he was better than what we had after he left. It was terrible. It was just not a good situation opposite of Trayvon Diggs last year, man. Now, 2021, AB had a career year, for sure. You could argue you missed AB in the same way you missed LVE when he was out. Not because these guys were just exceptional players. It was because you didn't have the depth that you thought you had. Or your depth got hit because Jay Lou also had one out prior. Maybe Deron Bland plays on the outside and Jay Lou stays on and we're not having this conversation, but that didn't happen. Jordan Lewis got hurt. So are y'all in or out on making AB a priority? A priority re-signing. It's clear he's not a priority because he would have been signed already, and we're 10 days out from a draft. I don't think that they're going to sign any more guys like AB prior to this draft. I think they're going to wait to see if they can get a top 100 corner. If nobody falls to him, then maybe you revisit the AB conversation. He gets re-signed on a 1-year minimum type of deal. Matish said, re-sign AB.
For what?
I'm kind of right there with you, man. I don't see the need, man. Yeah, I'm out. I'm out on re-signing AB, at least prior to the draft. They come out this draft, they don't get a corner. They feel like we're worried about the depth. Hell, I didn't even put Izzy on this list, and Israel Mukuamu could potentially fit in this cornerback room. So, but if they want to bring AB in, what is it? We're in April, May, June, or something like that. June, July. All right, whatever. That's going to cost you 1 year vet minimum, but I would not make him a priority. No, sir. No, sir. No way. No how. Sully said, ask the question again and hit the button. Y'all want to re-sign AB as a priority?
For what?
Yeah, I'm with you. Let's get Los on this one. What's good, Los?
Good morning, Sky, man. Hey, man, it's that day. I know. We're talking about Cowboys, but there's a Dallas team that might make a run for the Stanley Cup.
The Stars. Yeah, it's crazy you brought that up because I'm actually really looking at tickets and whatnot now. So
yeah, hey, if you go to a game, like I said, Sky, you'll love it. And I'm not trying to be biased here, but I do think we have the best goal celebration in hockey. So whenever we make a goal, you'll feel the energy of all the fans here in Dallas, and let's go make a run. But now let's talk to some Cowboys, Sky.
They're gonna be like, go, go. No,
it's way different.
It's the wrong sport.
Just look up Talk Off by.
I'm playing.
Just look up Talk Off by Dallas Stars, and you got it, Sky.
I'd be the one that screamed that while I'm there, and they'd be looking at me like, what? He's here for the hockey game? He's here? Why are you here? For what? But go ahead, man.
But yeah, man. But so about this draft, man, I really do think Cowboys, for the first time this offseason, like they said, I mean, they surprised us. They picked up not only a wide receiver, but a wide receiver that can actually do something, right? We're not relying on, he's been okay. The Washingtons of the world. We know what Cooks can do in any offense, especially, when he had no quarterbacks, he still managed to get like over 1,000 yards. And then the other thing is when we locked up that corner with Gilmore, I mean, that did all the difference in the world, as in like, all right, now we don't have to rely heavily on Trayvon Diggs, or if they try to throw Trayvon Diggs our way, we got like, it's them risking it for the biscuit. So we basically got a team, but my thing is like so in the first draft I was wondering who would have the best value to our team. And I think one name that we cannot get rid of is, Bijan Robinson. If we were to manage to get him, Sky, like you're talking about a running back one in this league for the next 3 to 4 years. And don't get me wrong, I love Tony Pollard. He's a hell of a football player. Like I respect him. I feel like we not wasted. Well, I'll be clearly. I think we wasted some of his years here, but that doesn't mean he can't go out there and still play. But my worst concern is his 1 year deal. So my thing is, if we're not priority, signing Tony Pollard for the rest of the future, who's going to be our running back for the next 2 or 3 years? And I think if we were to manage like Manshi and Bijan, I think that offense is set for for this year. And I think having its 1-2 punch with Tony and Bijan, man, that's going to be nasty, Sky. But like I said, it's all we can wish for. I really do think if you want Bijan, you're really going to have to trade up for him, because I do not think he's going to make it past the 17th pick. And my question to you,
Sky, where the line crosses.
And my question to you, Sky, is do you think Cowboys feel or see that Bijan that way, or how do they feel about Tony Pollard? Because I really don't know how they feel about Tony Pollard. Yes, they gave him the what is it, the
I'm about to say, brother, they told you how they feel.
Yeah.
They tagged him.
Yeah, they gave him they franchise tagged him, but I just feel like, are they going to work I'm not trying, okay, this is my worst fear. I don't want another Ezekiel Elliott
You're not getting
hangover type
You're
of
not
thing.
getting that.
You're
not getting that. Steven already, they're out of that paying a running back a lot of money business. You're not getting it. They might even be out of trading up to get a Bijan business. I don't think they'll do that. Now, if they look at this as a marketing type of tactic or ploy, then maybe that conversation changes. But I don't see them trading up for a running back now.
Okay, yeah. So that was just my opinion, but I really do think, hey, if Bijan's there, at 26, you better run to that damn podium.
That's a whole different question. If he's there at 26, I do think they probably make that selection, but I don't think they would trade up into where you probably had to go in the top 15. Now you're talking about giving up that third rounder, maybe more. Maybe if a team want to tax you. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's all I got to say, Sky. I mean, you have a great day. And, hey, one last thing. I don't know who's making these Dallas City uniforms for all these teams, but, damn, they gotta fix these Dallas uniforms at times, because, man, I need to go to Photoshop myself, because we need some good city editions for these teams, because I don't know if you saw, Sky, because, like I said, I'm a sports fan of all teams. The Rangers just dropped their city edition jerseys. Man, Scott, I'm disappointed. I hope Cowboys can make something about the uniforms this year, because damn, I'm kind of bummed out about that. But yeah, that's all, Scott. Peace.
All right, man. Appreciate you, Lo. I like the iced out Jones that the Cowboys had last year. I'm cool with those unis. I like the color rush. Cool with those. They don't need to get anything crazy. But man, I feel like this conversation for the next week and some change is going to come up. Cowboys trade up for Bijan. Cowboys take Bijan at 26. Pretty sure he ain't going to be available, but yeah, I don't see it happen. That don't mean they won't do it, but you can't be out of paying the running back big money business and then trade up for it. That doesn't make any sense. And we understand how deep this draft is. I personally believe, shore up the offensive line, shore up the scheme, and I think you can get a quality young back after day one to pair with Tony Pollard, et cetera, et cetera. The only way there's a conversation about Bijan to me is if Bijan is there at 26, right? Like that really is where the conversation starts. Trading up, what about all that, man? What about all that? All right, last caller of the day, making good progress here. 682. What it is, what it do.
What up, Sky?
Good morning,
long time listener, first time caller.
Welcome to the show.
I just wanted to talk about something that's just dear to my heart. That's the trenches, and everybody's been talking about the left guard, but I want to impress on everybody about the 3-tech. Everybody's thinking about the 1-tech. If we got that, I mean, we've got Jonathan Hankins now, and we can supplement that with another guy in the, later in the draft. But if we want to win the chip, if we want to be the best defense, if we want to take this defense to a whole nother level, we need a true 3-tech. Think about the old days when we were getting sacks. What was the guy, Jason Hatcher? I mean, when we run like a 4-3, but it's like a different version. But
Hatch broke out. He had a breakout year under Rod where he had 11 sacks. But I think we got Hatcher under Parcells as a 3-4.
Right.
Correct. Who else was it? Coach Cupcake, Camp Cupcake. Wade Phillips. Phillips, and they used him as a 5-tech. in the 3-4. But nonetheless,
You're right.
I hear you on the 3-tech thing. I do.
Uh-huh.
My only drawback is just based off of what I've been watching the last 2 years, and I would love to talk to Okoye more about this. It seems to me that they are not utilizing their defensive tackles, at least the 3-techs, in the same manner as we would like to see them, right? Meaning get upfield, get to the quarterback, be a disruptive force. They seem to be more a part of games. The Cowboys run more stunts than any team in the league by far. And they use those 3-techs to free up the edge rushers. So it's kind of you're going to get yours after they get theirs type of situation, unless it's just pure pass down and, occasionally they'll allow Osa or somebody to get upfield. But I hear you for sure, right? So you're talking about the Canseys of the worlds, the Bentons of the worlds, right? Those type of guys,
right?
I think could be disruptors if they're allowed to be disruptors. So I hear you, I feel you. I just wonder if DQ views those type of guys as that, or is he going to feature his ends instead of his tackles?
I hear what you're saying, and I agree, and I could be wrong, but I feel like you have to run those games because you're not getting the pressure you need. Just think if we were getting pressure up the middle. I'm tired. Quarterbacks hate pressure up the middle in their face. Yeah. If we got pressure in the middle and they had to step to the right or the left, and it came to D-Long or to Micah, let's make it easy for them. They are coming. They're having to loop around or hit them with the, trick them and come back inside and do all this work to get in because our guys, I'm watching them. Sometimes they're being blocked by one person. You know what I'm saying? We're not getting the push. They can step right up in the pocket and be comfortable. If we had pressure up the middle, this would change the defense. It will change the defense.
Hey,
we will be on a whole other level.
You ain't saying nothing that I don't agree with or disagree with, bro. I'm with you all the way, right? But I don't think they use them that way. And you're saying you think they don't use them that way because they don't got that guy. I think Osa could 100% be that guy. I think if they just said, Osa, go be a disruptor and we'll just worry about the rest, I think he can be a disruptor. And if they do draft a guy to be that, I think they'll just fit into the same mode that the Cowboys are doing with their defensive tackles. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they would say, if you're talking about, I imagine you're talking about like Kancey, right?
Yeah. That's what I want a disruptor.
Yeah,
and you know what? I think they thought they were going to get that. They were going to get the pressure from Neville. He was supposed to be that guy. He's kind of like a tweener. He's kind of like a tweener.
So that's the problem. You talk about all the defensive tackles. I think you're looking at a bunch of just kind of average guys. It's outside Osa, in my opinion. But you're looking at the Bohannas of the world, looking at the Nevilles of the world. Golston is still trying to figure things out. They don't have a ton of interior depth, which is why I say the trenches, whether it be 1-tech or 3-tech, I think Mozzie can give you some things. I think Benton can give you some things. I don't think that Kancey is as dual threat wise. He's not as versatile. But I'm with you on trenches for sure. I would love to have a conversation with a defensive guy down there and say, how do you view the interior? Because it doesn't seem like they put that much emphasis on the 3-tech position to do exactly what you want to do. Push the pocket, get pressure and things like that. They do the stunts. They work though. Like the stunts work. The Cowboys over the last 2 years have been one of the highest pass rush win rate teams. They get a ton of sacks. They create a ton of plays. So on one hand, it's hard to argue against it because how many teams are just throwing the ball over the Cowboys? Not a whole lot, until the cornerback situation got messed up and Micah started getting banged up. But they've been pretty solid, man. It's just, I think personally,
great points.
We want to see it.
I agree with you. So I shouldn't be complaining about this. You make great points. And they do have the NASCAR package. They throw their defensive ends in there in the 3-tech, and they have them rushing. But just what if we had that guy? Let's go get that guy. You know what I'm saying? Let's get the guy.
You're right.
Instead of these.
You are right, because if you go look at the league, if you go look at the participants in a Super Bowl the last few years, the DJ Readers, the Chris Jones, all of the defensive tackles for the Eagles, so forth and so on. Eric Armstead over there in San Francisco. Like, they've got that dude that they allow to just be an absolute force. So I'm all for getting one of them dudes, which is why I'm a big Mozzie fan. I think he can be a dude. I think Benton can be a dude. I'm with you, bro. I am. I just wonder with Mozzie. I think it's easier because I think they can use Mozzie in a one tech situation. Benton, I think, can also do more run stopping type things where you don't got to take him off the field all the time. I'm not gonna lie. I question Kancey a little bit because how can he hold up if a team like the Eagles, if a team like the Niners are willing to just run the ball on his ass? Like how can he hold up at that, at that size? And he's not AB or AD. So I just want to see. I think he's going to be a good player. I just want to see him a little bit more.
He does kind of scare me too. It could be like a bust. I mean, so it scares me. But one last thing, and I'm gone. I'll let you go home. I know you're ready to go. Be done with your day. And look, we are all about the trenches. We fortified our offensive line, and what did the whole division do? The whole division, they were scared of us. And what they do, they fortified their defensive lines because to even think about sniffing at getting a NFC East crown, you have to, you have to bring it against us. And everybody has their defensive line. Why can't we? I know we had Rod Marinelli who, just give me cast offs and I'll make them something.
Yeah,
but it's time to fortify the 3-tech and the 1-tech, which Dan Quinn is looking at. But I just want to put some emphasis. I just want to get it out there. Let's get that guy. Let's get that 3-tech and change his defense and make it a championship defense. Take us all the way and win the chip with the 3-tech.
Hey, I'm with you all the way. Appreciate the call. I am with you on adding interior help, man. Adding a dude. It's a matter of who you believe is a dude, who they believe is that dude. But I would have, we had this fun conversation earlier when we thought that, who was it that was on it? Buckner. We thought Buckner was on the trade block. I'll trade away. Y'all know what I would have traded. I traded away to go get a Buckner, right? DeForest Buckner. But you look at the list of guys, man, a lot of these guys are taken early. These interior dudes, and they don't necessarily got to be a pure 3-tech. It can be a guy that has some versatility to him. But, man, that's up there with me. Both sides of the trenches are up there with me. Now, it's a matter of do they value that in round 1 or 2. Historically speaking, no. Tristan Hill was taken in round 2, which was a super reach. But that's about it. Yeah. That's about it over the last couple decades, if I'm not mistaken. In fact, some of their hits were taken to the Jay Ratliffs of the world were later. Leroy Glover was a trade or a signing. I can't remember which one. So they really weren't drafting dudes early. Since Russell Maryland, it feels like. I mean, when's the last time the Cowboys took a defensive tackle not named Tristan Hill in the top, 50, 60 of the draft? Russell? So I can think about. But, man, how many times I've been preaching to y'all about having a dude. Get me one of them dudes. Now, I don't know if there's one there that they believe there's one there. Y'all know I like Mozzie. I do like Benton too. I ain't gonna lie. I like Kancey, but my thought on Kancey is a little different than other. I would like to view Kancey a little differently. I like him kind of on the edge and move him inside on those pass rushy downs as my future D-Law type replacement. But that's just me, especially in this kind of multiple defense that Dan Quinn runs. But I think Mozzie can be a fantastic interior body. So can Benton. But do they view him as one of those guys? Emphasis on dude. That is true. Triple D. Emphasis on dude. Because a lot of those guys we talked about before, the Paynes, the Allens, the Readers, we know about Fletcher Cox when he was up top of his game. We had the whole list. We did it before. Those guys matter. They're more rare than all these pass rushers, but they matter for sure. Last time the Cowboys drafted one. That's all I could think about is Russell Maryland. I don't think the Cowboys drafted one. I know they ain't draft one in the first round. And I know Tristan was like that's the only one I remember in the top 50 or 60, whatever the Cowboys picked. Yep. That's it. So Dallas historically doesn't do it. So that's why, when the other caller called in and talked about Mozzie, I said it. I don't think they will. But I wouldn't be mad if they do. Ebenezer Ecubon. Wasn't that a defensive end? I thought he was an edge. All right, let's get to some of these super chats on the way out of here. I think we actually hit them all early in the show. So, but let me just double check, make sure I ain't missing none. And I did. Triple D drop one.
Super chat.
He said, also, a stud defensive tackle will protect the linebackers. For sure. Yeah. Yep. I mean, that's why I was kind of looking at Campbell to pair with Hankins bringing back or Ashawn Robinson, these guys. I want to have that rotation. You know, it doesn't stop to me with the Hankins or Osa. I want to have that rotation because none of these dudes are going to be 75, 80, 85% plays. They're not going to be those guys. Surprisingly, Hankins was playing a lot of snaps, but you want these guys to be fresh. And that's why I thought Philly was able to constantly bring pressure because they just had a ridiculous rotation of dudes. So I'm all about it. Good stuff today, man. Good questions. Created some great conversation. If y'all enjoyed today's show, do me a favor, hit that like button. We'll be back tomorrow with our guy, Foots the King, talking linebacker prospects. And Foots is, my bad. Foots is fired up to talk about these backers, man. And I think it's one of the most non-talked about needs, in my opinion, for the Cowboys. Do not rule it out in round one. I'm telling you, don't do it. Sin City Cowboy drop one. What is your win now formula? Sin City, you're going to have to be a bit more specific on that one. I don't know what that means.
Super chat.
But appreciate that. What is your win now formula? I don't know what that means. You got to be a bit more specific. Like, what are you, like draft wise? Are you talking about like in general? I know what you mean. Nah, it's Foots the King, man. Foots the King. He'll be back in tomorrow. We'll be talking about the linebackers on our On the Clock draft series coming up. It is our second to last On the Clock draft show. Next week will be the final one, and then boom, me and Foots will be live on draft day. A little bit different this year. I'm not covering the entire breaking news. I'm not covering the entire draft from pick 1 to pick whatever. We'll be coming on closer to the Cowboys pick. Wait a minute now. Somebody said breaking news. Hold on, my bad. I don't see anything. All right, we good to go. Hey, appreciate you though, Toxic. You just reminded me to talk about Boston Scientific. That's the breaking news. ED can affect your self-esteem and impact your most important relationships. If you've tried pills, if you've tried other solutions and you can't find one, there is hope. Take a free online assessment that you can share with your doctor. Click the ad to learn more. There is a permanent, satisfying solution to treat ED, and it's at edcure.org. Get the facts. Find a urologist who can offer treatment options when others don't work. Is there really breaking news? Anyway, that's edcure.org, brought to you by Boston Scientific. Am I being trolled, or is there really news here? I hate when y'all do this. Good Lord. I'm not seeing anything. Oh, Jalen Hurts. Oh, I thought we were talking Cowboy news. That's why I'm looking at my Cowboy. I got a Cowboys news list thingy here, and I'm refreshing. And I'm like, I don't see nothing happening. Man, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, dog. We out of here with that one. Let me hit this button. Everybody know Eagles news. But breaking news, I guess Jalen Hurts is signed with the Philadelphia Eagles. Love y'all to death, man. We out of here. Triple D, that's good news for us. It might be, man. Love y'all. See y'all later. Vashenberg Live. Peace.
Wow!